Welcome back to Norrath. In the last episode, we came back to Freeport to do a little work in the city, and since then, as you can see behind me here, I've been doing a lot of work all over the city, and we have quite a few cool things to look at today. And we will start over here in North Freeport, and we will actually start at the gate down here, because I made a decision about the banners, and I decided they would look best hanging from the sides here. And we've got a couple of colors here. We may put a few more banners over here, I'm not sure. But I think they look pretty good sitting right there to greet you when you come in the gate. And I've also added some more of these trees around the courtyard and at various places in the city. And speaking of various places, let's go over here because I've done some work on the Academy of Arcane Science. This is sort of the Hogwarts of Norrath, you could say. And it's done in a fairly similar style. We have a great hall that I previously built as part of my Gothic town hall, but I chopped part of that off and attached it to this building. It's not ready to go inside, though. We'll do that in another episode. But I finished the roof off of this structure. It's come out pretty good, I think. We have our medieval roofs and pinnacles here. We've even managed to work in a couple of diagonal flying buttresses on the side here. And I'm pretty pleased with how this has come out. I think this actually goes pretty much all the way up to the build limit. There's no more space to go any higher there. And right beside it, I've also done some work here on this building, which is going to be the main bank of Freeport. And I quite like how this roof design came out. I cobbled together a couple of roofs that I've previously built, and I sort of stacked them on top of each other. And the more I look at it, the more I really like it. But do let me know what you think about it in the comments. I think we're probably going to end up having a dedicated episode for each of these structures we look at today when I go through and start actually putting the insides inside of them. And fortunately, they shouldn't be too difficult because they're symmetrical around 2 axes, which means that I only have to build 25% of them, which will let us get things done even quicker. And was there anything else over here to take a look at? No, I think I've covered it. I have also changed the roof of the towers here a little bit, giving them some more three-dimensional structure instead of just the flatness that they were on the top. And I've also done what I talked about doing with the aqueduct here. As you can see, we have water flowing out of the end of it. Because if we go inside here, we have our water that comes all the way from the other end of the common land, several hundred blocks in that direction. And it spills out here into one of 2 reservoirs. And because we have the water coming in at this height, we have a good bit of water pressure in the pipes of Freeport to make our fountains down there possible. And I've also added some buttresses to this over here. It probably doesn't need it for structural reasons, but it does look pretty cool. I'm pretty pleased with it. And one of these will feed North Freeport, and the other one will feed all the other sections of Freeport. Because I think put together the underground cisterns that you'll remember that we put down below these courtyards here, I think for size they're fairly equally distributed between North Freeport and the rest of the city. And we have a couple more of those trees down there I talked about. And also, before we get too far in that direction, I changed the clock tower. We did have the clock down here, but I pasted in a pinnacle that I made previously for this clock, and it just so happened to fit nicely on the top of this tower, so that's where I put it. And it's double faced, which means we have a face on this side and one on the other side for the warrior section. And we can just see it if we're down here in the courtyard. We can look up and tell what time it is. Which it's always 3 o'clock around here. I don't think I've actually set the sun to be 3 o'clock. That's an oversight. But if we come over here to West Freeport, we will see the changes and additions I've made to the Freeport Militia building. There's also the Warrior Guild Hall. And I've added some larger roofs over here, and I think this building is going to be a barracks for the militia itself. And I put together several roofs and collided them and recombined them to make this very interesting shape. I'm quite pleased with how this has come out, actually. I think we're going to have to call this episode Medieval Skyscrapers because we are rather high up around here. There's nothing in it at the moment. I think this building is going to take quite a long time to flesh out, even though I only have to really build 25% of the interior of it. It's quite tall. However, other buildings that are a little smaller, that we might be able to finish this one today, this is the main arena for Freeport, because there is a PvP area in West Freeport. So what I've designed that to be in this city is going to be a jousting arena. And we have various blue banners hanging down here. I'm going to change the wool colors later. Let's actually go through this and I will demonstrate to you what's inside. So if we go down here, we have various doors here. These lead to the undersections. Nothing in them at the moment, but if we come up here through the stairs, and we could continue going upwards. Well, let's just go up right through here, and we come out to an area of seating. So we can actually climb up these stairs here and go to whichever ticket we bought. And we have a good view down here of the jousting field. Have the two knights charging each other, and they probably meet somewhere around in the middle here, so we'd be looking in that direction. And this is going to be mirrored on the other side. This entire structure here. And we have a few more flying buttresses and everything down here with our Gothic arches. And some suitably Gothic style scenery here. All this is pretty much just for decoration. But as I said, it's going to be mirrored on this side. I haven't done that yet. So you could see what this looked like when I was first roughing it out and putting it together. If you take away all the wooden elements in there, these are the stone elements. So as you can see, we just have a simple Gothic style arcade here with some columns. And it's supported on this other side by a few flying buttresses and some more columns to give it a little extra strength and rigidity. However, let's come back to that later because there are a few things in East Freeport we need to take a look at as well. And there's also a little tower here. I put a little roof on it along with a dome. Not sure if it came out good or not. I'm still kind of on the fence about this one. Usually when you're doing Gothic things, you don't really do domes with those. That's more of a Roman style thing, but I think it might just work for this. And other things I've done around here is I have embellished and extended the, what was this building? I think, oh yes, this is the Freeport Customs House. This is where the city takes its share of the merchandise passing through its port. Probably one of the primary revenue sources for the city itself. That we can afford to build all these nice buildings around here. And it has no interior at the moment. The building behind me here is just a tower attached to the walls. It's not part of the customs house itself. It needs to be turned into something, though. I'm thinking about extending this upwards and going a bit more upwards with that. And I'm pretty pleased with how this one has come out, too. It's a variation on the bank tower we took a look at over there. Except it's a little bit more rectangular, and I put in these side towers here. Along with the two flanking pavilions with the courtyard and the archway here, it's looking pretty good. I think East Freeport is really starting to take shape, because in addition to the half-finished lighthouse we have here, I've also started to build out the prototypes for the storage yards and the warehouses along the wharfs here. Because as we have our ships, we're going to have more than one ship, I promise, as we get around to building those. Our ships will be unloading their cargo here, and they're going to want places to bring it into. So we need a lot of warehouse districts around here, and it's currently empty. But we'll be working on that in future episodes. I think after I get the bottom sections, we can just copy and paste various upper timber frame elements that we've built elsewhere in the city, like this. And this is just a roughed out example. I think for these buildings, pretty much what I do is I build the shell, and then I build the soft insides of it later on. I don't do that with every building, though. Some buildings I will start with the inside and then put cladding on it. And I think we also have a couple of warehouses that we're going to put over here as well for the military docks. However, I think that brings you up to speed with everything I have done in between episodes. Currently, there is still nothing in South Freeport. It is just a barren area. I think we need to have at least one or two prominent buildings put over here, but I still don't have a clue what they're going to be. I think possibly a tower of some description over there might look nice. Or something over here might look nice as well. We'll have to think about what to do for that. But for today, I think what we probably want to focus on here is finishing the Freeport Arena. And I think all we really have to do for this is to finish filling in this section down here. We need to build in some timber framed areas so we can have rooms and various viewing platforms. I think it would be nice if we added a viewing platform right around here. We'll have to think about that. Maybe on the other end, actually, because this is Lucan's area of Freeport. So he would probably want to have his own private balcony somewhere off of his tower that he could look at the various peons he rules over down below here as they enjoy the festivities. Because presumably he would pay for and promote the knights that joust and duel here. And there would be all sorts of various teams and everything that would compete here. It'd probably be a lot of fun. Although I think if you were going to build a jousting arena in real life, you'd probably not put in the buttresses because it would block your view if you had one of the cheap seats down here. I think maybe Maybe over here, it would probably be a bad place to sit. However, be that as it may, these are medieval times, so people will just have to make do with whatever they get. So, all that said, let's get to work putting in the structures down here. I think I will work on that a little bit and come back and show it to you. And here we are. The jousting arena is finished. Fun fact, this is called a tilt yard, T-I-L-T yard. In Old English, is what they would refer to them as back when they were actually doing jousting. And let's take a look around it here. I have changed the banner colors like I talked about doing. I have added a few trees here and there where appropriate. And let's land and go into it. Let's pretend we've bought our ticket. We've gotten some snacks from the market stalls that are probably going to be down here. And we head up to our seats. And here we are. Let's see, where's our seat? It's around here somewhere. This ought to be good enough. So we'll sit here, and the knight will be over here. There'll be another one over there. And they will charge each other and meet somewhere around the middle here. And of course, we'll be cheering for our favorite knight. Presumably, the paladins of North Freeport are here fighting the warriors of West Freeport. As denoted by the flags here, we've got blue and white for the paladins and red and black for the warriors. They could also be fighting the Shadow Knights, of course. I think they would be, what, green and black, probably, would be their colors. But let's go down here. I forgot to bring my horse, but if we had one, we would be riding in this direction with our lance pointed out, and we would hit him somewhere around here. And with the crowds cheering us, it'd be a pretty good time, I think. And for this, for the other side, I have just copied and pasted this side and collided it with the Freeport Militia Tower over here. And there wasn't going to be any good way to do this, so I chose the messy way. And I think it actually works out well, because this area here forms a little balcony, and this is the box, probably where Lucan would sit. Maybe up here, or maybe a little further down here, presiding over the crowd. And I think one of the things I might want to do is add some additional flags along the top rows here. Some smaller banners, I think, in several different colors. Would probably look pretty good. And here's the view from the side. The street level. Came out really good, I think. I've also added some street lights and trees along this courtyard here, adding in some detail. So we would come through the courtyard here, past the equestrian statue of Lucan, and go down the main road here, and on our right, we could enter the jousting arena. And there's also a few more things I've done today that we should be taking a look at. Over here, I have changed the roof color of this section and also added a few trees down here in the plaza. Like so. And I've gone with lapis and obsidian, which I usually use for floors. But I think for this building, it makes sense to have them on the roof as well. And it looks pretty good, I think. There's also the building beside it, you will notice, now has a top and a roof on it. I'm still not sure what this building is going to be, but I recombined it and altered the roof colors a little to be bedrock and dark prismarine. I think they look pretty good, actually. Now, don't be too impressed by this. This is just actually the Warrior Guild roof, except I chose a smaller section of it and added different pinnacles here on the top. So now that I've told you this, if you look at both of them together, you can see the resemblance. They're not the same, but they're similar. And speaking of things around here, South Freeport was rather barren, so I have added a couple of things to it. You can't help but notice the large tower here in the center, looking rather ominous. And it looks this way because this is the Shadow Knight Guild headquarters, I think. And for this, I have chosen a roof of obsidian and bedrock. Looks pretty good, I think. It certainly towers over this area of Freeport. We needed something on this side to counterbalance everything we have going on over there. Of course, the cathedral is still the tallest structure in the city by a fair bit. This isn't actually a build limit. This goes up for another 20 or 30 blocks, I think. You will also notice down here we have another smaller tower. And this one is going to be probably the Necromancer Guild headquarters, I think. Because that's the only other major structure we have put down here. And for this, I did a similar thing I did with the roof to make this tower, except I chose the lighthouse that we've been working on over here, and I chose a smaller section of it and made this. So you can see the resemblance on this, except it has an octagonal top, I believe. This would also make a nice lighthouse. But I think I'm probably going to need to scratch build an octagonal roof to go on the top of that. And I've also put in some trees and street lights down here at the bottom. So this area of South Freeport is getting more fleshed out. So to close out today's episode, we are going to take a flyover from south to north, roughly diagonal of the entire city, so you can get a good idea of where everything is in relation to each other, because I know in the videos sometimes it can be hard to figure out where all this stuff is. And the render distance doesn't exactly go all the way to the other side of the city either. I could turn the render distance up, but because of the recording it would start lagging out and it wouldn't be very good, so we'll have to use a little imagination for this. The arena we built down there. The central cathedral. The main market square. Our clock tower and the aqueduct stretching off into the distance. The farm fields out there. And also over here we have the Tower of Arcane Science and the bank building. So I hope you enjoyed today's episode. We've gotten quite a lot done today and over the last couple of days. I think in the next episode we will focus down on a couple of these buildings around here, and also try and fill in some of the vacant lots we have down there. So leave me a comment, let me know what you think about everything, and I will see you next time.